Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday from the Toybox edition. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series Rebels first release of Hera Syndulla. Let's get into it! Let's take a look at the figure and her accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers. So we can take a look at this itty bitty gun here. And I'm going to say this is some kind of holdout blaster. But it looks to be molded in black. And then it's got these silver and gold paint apps on it. And it doesn't have a lot of molded details to it. Because of course it is based on the animation. And, you know, they kind of combine the animated with realism. And so the weapon didn't get a lot of details, but it doesn't really need them because most of the time it stays in her holster anyway. But it's really nice looking piece. Those paint apps really set it off. Now, talking about paint apps, let's take a look at the figure. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is the first release, not the re-release with the repaints. But this is the original release of Hera. And I have to say, it doesn't look bad. I think mainly because she's an alien. And she's based off of animation, so it doesn't look as bad as some of the older Black Series paint jobs. For the faces, like maybe those original Rogue One figures, and even like Force Awakens, which I hate to call on that, but you know, some of those figures, the paint jobs on them were really horrible and really killed the sculpt. But in this case, I don't find that that's the case. So she's got a little bit of paint right here on the cheek, and I'm assuming that the face is molded in color, and then like the lips and the eyes, eyebrows, all that are paint apps. And then here's the goggles. I would have liked for them to be able to rotate down, but they do not. At least mine do not. And it's got some nice silver paint apps on there, and then nice paint app here. Looks like some tampos most likely on her Liku, or head tails, however you like to, whatever you like to call them. And then, you know, just a few little paint apps throughout. Not a whole lot of paint going on for this figure. A little bit of silver right here at the wrists, and then right here on the boots. And then this looks like a paint app as well. There's the holster for her weapon, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let's take a look at her articulation. She doesn't really look up because the Liku get in the way, and there's no articulation, even though they're glued on right here at this joint. Instead of gluing them on, they could have made that a point of articulation, I think, but they didn't. So she doesn't really look up. She looks down that far. She barely has any chicken neck. It's got a little bit of waggle. She can do the full exorcist with a slight bit of difficulty, and her head is on the classic ball and hinge there. Now at the arms, this armor piece does get in the way just a little bit, but it will raise up over that shoulder piece of the vest. So it gives you a little less than 90 degrees up, 360 degrees rotation, nothing in the upper bicep. Hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivels around 360 degrees, and does give you a bit better than 90 degree bend there at the elbow. 360 degrees rotation at the wrist, and it is on it on? Looks like it's on an up and down hinge, but it's a little stuck. So, and then in and out hinge on this side. Cut here, and it's kind of reversed from other Black Series figures because the waist piece comes up higher than the chest piece. Usually the chest piece is over the torso piece, but there's a cut here at any rate, and you might even say this is more of a waist cut, but it gives her hula. She can lean left and right. She bends back that far and forward just slightly. Also a 360 degree rotation there as well. At the hips, she can give you that much of the splits, and these are not tight, so they move freely up and down the leg so that they don't get in the way. She can kick forward that far, back that far, so that's really good. Cut here at the upper thigh for a 360 degree rotation, double hinged, pinned knee, and it gives you that much bend, which is really good with a flight suit, because usually they're puffy enough that you don't get quite that much bend with it. Then at the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, so that's really good as well. And then forward facing pin for rocker. And as far as her weapon goes, she can hold it in her hand, or you can put it right there in the holster, and it does stay in there pretty good due to friction. So there we go, my friends. There's a look at Hera Syndulla and her accessory. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have what I like to think of as the main cast of Rebels All Black Series. We have Chopper, Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Hera Syndulla, Kanan Jarrus, Zeb Orrelios, and Ahsoka. For our final set of comparisons, here we have Star Wars The Black Series, Rebels, Hera Syndulla, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. Our final Black Series comparison, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on Star Wars The Black Series, Rebels, Hera Syndulla, I have to say that this is the original release of the figure, not the re-release, repaint, however you want to describe that, with the more modern face printing technology and deco on it. But for final thoughts on this particular version of the figure, I think she still fits in well with the others, and the others being Zeb, Ezra, and Sabine. Those are the ones that I got the upgraded versions of, because I honestly couldn't get my hands on the original versions of the figure. And that's really the only reason that Ezra and Sabine are not original releases as well. Do I wish, in hindsight, that I had upgraded so that they would all match? Yeah, a little bit I do. But for the most part, this one still fits in. Just like Ahsoka, she still fits in mostly with the other figures, and that's fine. The only one that really stands out is Kanan, and I'm hoping at some point they'll do an updated, upgraded figure of him where, he's like he appears in the first couple of seasons, and then his, the last couple of seasons that he appeared in, where he was blind and he wore the face shield and had the beard and all that. So I'm hoping at some point they will give us that version of Canis, and Kanan, and it will be an upgraded and updated figure. But again, as far as this one goes, I like the way this one looks. I think the decos on it are fine. The decos on her blaster are really, really good. They look really, really nice to me. And, you know, is her face, yeah, it's a little plain, but even on the upgraded figure, I don't think there's much change in that. The only thing that I really would have changed on this one is maybe the tattoos on her Liku. I would have made them just a little darker so they'd stand out a little bit. And I guess they're tattoos. Maybe they're just colorations on it. I don't recall. It's been a number of years since I watched Rebels. But for me, just going in my display, this one is fine. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.